I had to play the hostage music because I have a. Gee, I think there's a turtle wandering around with my documents attached to his shell. So if you see a turtle wandering around in Media, Pennsylvania, stop and give that guy a ride. It's very strange stuff, and why reason I want to address this is I'm going to tie it back to something that you should be doing, and you should be doing early and often. I mailed basically my notice of claim, like I basically tell everybody. I mailed my affidavit of status, my notice of claim, and my affidavit of fact to said judge, which is a guy named Andrew Goldberg, and that was mailed on the 24th. It was supposed to be delivered in 3 days, and then we're now on day 13, and I don't see no, there's no mailing. And here's what's really weird: if I come look at it, and I look at the history, look, February 24th they got it. And look, they stopped doing updates on March 3rd. It says, look, in transit arriving late, your package will arrive later than expected. But it's still on its way. It's currently in transit to the next facility. So for 6 days now, it's been in transit without an update. Now, I don't know. Is it coincidence that it's some pretty bad stuff in there for Mr. Goldberg? That all of a sudden this thing goes missing? I don't know, man. And what's weird is I also mailed a judicial grievance to the review board, and that also went out on the same day. Now here's the weird thing: that also went out certified mail, and that had to go all the way to Philadelphia. Not only did it go all the way to Philadelphia, it actually got returned to me yesterday with an acknowledgement that they had received it. Give your standard mailing back. Hey, Mr. Fadgel, we got your thing, blah, 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 and we're reviewing it. Yeah, well, we know what they're going to do with it, but at least there's an acknowledgement that they got it. So, listen, if there's a turtle carrying a certified mail letter, he's missing in action. So if you see a turtle wandering around Media, Pennsylvania, pick that little guy up. He's been wandering for 13 days. He can't find his way yet. And like I said, I mentioned this for a reason because we're going to address it later on something that you can do that basically will basically cause chaos among the attorneys and among everybody who's coming at you. But first, let's talk about a couple things. Let's talk about, call them gurus for the, for not a better term. There's a lot of guys that I've learned a lot of stuff from, and everyone brings something to the table. And a couple of them: Bill Thornton, Carl Lentz, Mark Stevens, Christopher James, Sam Gross, Robert Fox, Robert Odek, and Steve Emerson. And listen, each one does their own different things. Everyone's going to differ in their own different way. I'm not going to agree with all these people on all the points. And someone might have accomplished incredible things doing something totally opposite what I'm doing. Doesn't make him right, me wrong, or the opposite. It's just he learned and perfected what he had to do, and he executed it. But stop pitting basically, one against the other. This one's better than this one, or that one's better than that one. Listen, guys are all on the same team. There is no right or wrong. We're all on the same team moving towards the same thing. We all want to be left alone by these people and want to exercise our God-given rights. So these people are your allies. None of them are your enemies. So I root for every one of these guys because every success they have, man, I'm going to learn something from that because I'm going to dissect that success. I want to see how did they have that success? What was the root of why it happened? Why did the court do what they did, or why did the township do what they did? Why did they react the way that they did based on something that these people did? So it's always a learning tool. I've learned invaluable. I've learned valuable information from these people. And so don't pit one against the other, and it's not worth even arguing in the Telegram chat. I don't want to argue who's better than who. Listen, I can tell you one thing I know for certain. See this guy here? He's the most successful guy you're ever going to see. Steve Emerson from Florida. Steve's story's legendary. Steve's done things with the property tax stuff and with just judgments in general he's gotten against these criminals, these local thugs. Like he called them organized crime, and Steve's right, that they're organized crime. So there's no debate on who's the most successful out of everybody. This guy right here. And listen, I hope somebody eclipses Steve, but he's got some pretty impressive numbers he's put on the board. So don't bang Steve and don't criticize Steve because I can't do what Steve did, and I doubt anyone here can do what Steve did. So Steve's a resource, and Steve was an inspiration to me because I seen Steve walk in the court. I don't say I seen it visually, but I know Steve went into court and he smacked a lot of people around, and he got a substantial settlement, and he did it on behalf of somebody that had their house taken for property taxes. And listen, that's, you want to argue about who's successful, who's not. It's the guy who's got the guy who's got the goods, the guy who got paid for what they did, and that's Steve. Steve's gotten paid a lot, so so don't slate Steve in any way, man. Steve to me is an ally, man. I love Steve and what he did, and he was a great influence on me because he showed me that these people could be beat. You get your ducks in order, these people can be beat. And brings us to another thing. It's sort of it's an unprogramming. It really is, and there are spells that they're playing on you, and when I say spells, they're using words. And in the one video that I analyzed for Richard, it's funny, Richard called him on a couple of the legalisms that were thrown out there, and Richard said, and the judge actually said, well, it's just a word of art. The judge actually said it's a word of art. And Richard called him on it. And what he's doing is he's throwing terms out there, and he's trying to gain jurisdiction. And that's what they're doing with you. And they're conflating two things, and they're in your mind, they're making you believe that they're one and the same. Case in point, I'm going to take my state here, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, factually, is a geographic physical location. It's a landmass. That's all Pennsylvania is. It's a geographic physical landmass. Okay, it's the dirt, the water. It's a geographic landmass. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is a corporation that exists only on a piece of paper that has a Dun & Bradstreet number. So one is a physical piece of land, and one is a piece of paper. But they want you to conflate the two and think that Pennsylvania and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania are one and the same. They are not, and it's the same thing for your state. Look, they're telling you right in the words. They're telling you Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Well, if you are of something, you can't be the something. You're of it. Like if I'm a son of my father, I can't be my father. If I'm a son of my mother, I can't be my mother. I'm of my mother, I'm of my father. It's the same thing here. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. They're telling you it's not Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, geographic landmass. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, corporation existing only on a piece of paper. So they want you to believe that because they have this real similar name to the geographic region of Pennsylvania, that they're one and the same. So that their corporate laws, statutes, codes, and ordinances must apply to everybody in Pennsylvania. This is the mind shift that they're doing to you. I don't want to say the word. This is the mind shift that they're doing to you. They're trying to conflate these two in your head so that when they say Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, you think, oh, I live in Pennsylvania. That must apply to me. And that's what most people are doing. Let me say almost 99.9% of the people are doing. So you got to be able to separate out the two. One's a geographic landmass. One's a corporation. And just because I live on the geographic location known as Pennsylvania does not mean I'm subject to this group over here called the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. How does my physical location tie me to a piece of paper created by public servants that are doing business as the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania? Remember, there's only two ways that I could be attached to a piece of paper that these people create. This group called the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I've either got to be their property, they got to own me, and I'm their slave, which I'm pretty sure is illegal if you look at the 13th Amendment, but I don't know. When I look around, I see everybody wearing masks and, everybody complying. I think we see a lot of slaves walking around. But slavery is illegal, so I know I'm not owned by these people, or I got to have a contract with these people. And like I said, I'm going to bang over and over, you got to learn basic contract law. There's no such thing as adhesion contracts. There's no such thing, they're unilateral contracts. There's no such thing as unilateral contract. And unless you understand basic contract law, I'm not going to argue with you. Go learn what a contract is. And I've got it in a couple of my videos what a contract is. So I don't have any contracts with these people. Even if I registered something with them, like my car or my home or what, I don't have that's not a contract. And if anything, it's a unilateral agreement that I could rescind my signature on at any time. And there's not a damn thing they can do about it because I'm not their property. And they don't own me or my property. So one's a geographic landmass and one is a corporation that exists only in a piece of paper. So you got to, when I first learned, it took me a while to separate the two. And you've got to get this nailed down in your head because it's the core of everything you're doing. And just to touch on that, everybody thinks everything I'm doing is just all common law. And I hear these videos, this guy says he went to jail because he followed common law. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Listen, I'm not doing strictly common law stuff. A lot of what I'm doing is actually a lot of commercial law built into what I'm doing because a lot of what I'm doing is based on contract law. My paperwork's got contract law throughout it. You just might not jump out at you, but there's contract law throughout those papers. I'm basically stating, hey, I'm not your property, and my physical location doesn't create a contract with you people, and you people have no rights in my property or myself. So that's taking their jurisdiction away from them. It's taking their authority away from them. So it's not just we're doing just common law stuff. We're relying on common law principles, meaning, listen, if you're making a claim against me, you better be able to walk through that court door and get on that stand and testify. Because the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is not going to testify. It's a fiction. And the lawyer, the attorney, can't testify for a fiction, which we're going to address now. See this guy that everyone's afraid of, these attorneys? People get mailings and they got the law firm's logo in there and people get that pit in their stomach, oh, geez, what's this going to cost me? Oh, I'm in trouble. Listen, see this guy? He's the bully on the schoolyard. Once you punch him in the face, he runs home to mommy, okay? And I got a bunch of ways to punch him in the face with your paperwork. And I'm stunned that you people haven't jumped on a lot of this stuff. Listen, there's a document up there that was provided to me by somebody that I learned this bar grievance process off of. And this gentleman, let's see, he did 25 bar grievances last month, okay? So, gee, wonder why he spends all that time doing bar grievances. Because he's seen a lot of positive benefits from doing those bar grievances. He's going to ring the insurance bell at that attorney. And depending on what the record is of that attorney, if that's his second, third bar grievance, that attorney might lose their indemnity insurance. That attorney might not be an attorney anymore by the time that bar grievance goes through. Like I said, the bar association is going to take your bar grievance, they're going to tear it up and throw it in the trash, and you're going to get a sweet little letter telling you that your bar grievance is just, it's frivolous and it has no merit, and they looked into it, and he's all good because it's sort of like, hey, listen, we've investigated ourselves, and yeah, we're innocent. We're pretty sure we're innocent, and you're always going to get that. But the insurance companies are ruthless. They don't care about that. It's a numbers game to them. All they know is this guy's got a black mark on him. He's got a bar grievance filed against him. So the attorney's actually the second weakest link in the chain. The weakest link is the actual bureaucrat that's generally doing this mailing to you, whether it's the local tax guy or the property assessor or whoever. And most of this stuff they've couched in the council, the town council or the borough council. These are bureaucrats, button pushers that have no clue what they're doing. And until you speak to them, and like I said, I've spoken to numerous of these people have no clue what they're doing. Soon as a legal question is posed to them, they run to these guys to find out what they do. This is mommy and daddy for them, okay? They got to run to mommy and daddy to find out what they can do and what they can say because they're afraid to talk to you because they might say the wrong thing. No, I guarantee they're going to say the wrong thing. So they run to mommy and daddy and they get permission to speak, and mommy and daddy tells them what to say. So the bureaucrat is the weakest link, and this guy's the second weakest link. The guy that everyone's been afraid of, the attorneys, are the weakest links, or the second weakest links in the chain. And the way you deal with these pettifogger shysters is you file bar grievances against them. Okay? Bar grieve them early and often. When I say early, soon as you get that letter, I'm going to do a mail fraud complaint against Mr. Attorney because I know right away that document, I don't have a contract with this guy. This guy shouldn't be involving himself in any matter concerning me. Listen, I know I didn't damage or harm anybody. I didn't have a car accident that this guy's sending me documents about. So if there's no matter that involved with this guy, he's got no right to be contacting me. So that letter alone is mail fraud. because he's going to be trying to extort money from me, and he's going to be making false claims over things that he has no jurisdiction over, no authority over. He's got no legal standing in the matter. And what legal standing basically is you have to have a right violated, or you have to suffer damage in some way to have standing. That's not him. He don't have standing. And he definitely doesn't have any personal knowledge of anything. He doesn't have any personal knowledge about you or your property, anything involving your property. So anything he's contacting you about is complete nonsense. It's fraud. So he's the second weakest link in the chain. So bar grieve him early. As soon as you get that mail fraud complaint out, go file bar grievance against him. And bar grieve him often. Okay? If he keeps coming at you, another bar grievance. Okay? I got a law firm here. We'll tell you who they are. I don't care if their name's out there. The little township is the Beverly Park. These little criminals. So they have this law firm called Portnoy Law Associates. Now, Portnoy sent me a claim for the borough. Remember, they're talking for the borough here. These attorneys talking for the borough. And they made a claim that they were trying to extort money from me for the borough. And what Portnoy didn't understand is I had already gotten the Beverly Park in commercial default by serving them affidavit of status, affidavit of fact, and a notice of claim. And they defaulted on it. So they were already in default. And in my affidavit, I actually stated that, listen, these statements that I'm making in my affidavit are nunc pro tunc, which means now till then. It means from here on till when this started, which means if you don't have the authority to do it now, you didn't have the authority to do it then. Okay, so I basically I got two rental properties in this Beverly Park, and I sent a notice of claim against Portnoy Law Associates, and an affidavit of status and an affidavit of fact, and what a notice of claim. And I said, hey, thank you for involving yourself in my matter, and because you've involved yourself in my matter, I need to make a claim against you for $10,000. And I said, oh, by the way, in my affidavit to him, I said, oh, by the way, your client, the persons that are doing business at the Beverly Park, your client, they're in commercial default. They were served affidavits and a notice of claim, and they failed to respond, so they're in commercial default. They went away. I heard nothing more from them for this property. They went silent. So then, listen, these are just, once you're in the system and you're on the roll, they just, the computer spits your name out and they just hand it off to the next party, because everything's compartmentalized with these little boroughs and townships. Everyone just does they don't see the big picture. They just do their little job. So, bang, my second property came up for something they wanted to try to extort money from me for, and an attorney from Portnoy Law Associates files a fraudulent lien against me, which I'm about to address now. And I'm going to tell you what, by the time I'm done with Mr. Attorney, and you're going to see the process, by the time I'm done with Mr. Attorney, he's going to be lucky to keep his bar card, okay? And I know I'm going to ding his insurance because I'm going to rattle the hell out of him, because he tangled with the wrong monkey, basically. So now I got the law firm. Remember, this is the same law firm. So now the law firm, they're responsible for that first claim they made, and they're responsible for the idiot, the second attorney's claim. They're responsible for his claim too. So that's two separate events, two separate properties, two separate events. So guess what that law firm's going to get? They're going to get two separate bar grievances against the law firm. And I'm also going to bang Mr. Attorney. But, like I said, a first-year attorney who gets a bar grievance loses his insurance. Can't be attorney no more. An established attorney that gets two bar grievances loses their insurance. Can't be an attorney no more. A law firm that gets 3 bar grievances in 1 year loses their insurance. They can't be a law firm. So I'm going to give a nice little early Christmas present to Portnoy Law Associates. I'm going to hand them 2 bar grievances, and I'm going to see how they fare with this, because basically now I'm not just going after the attorney, I'm going after their law firm. And guess what? When I'm dealing with affidavits with these pettifogger shyster attorneys, these dirtballs, absolute dirtballs, they can't stand up to me. There's no way that attorney walks in there and he's not going to take a piece of paper called a law, statute, and code and claim that it gives him authority to do something to me. They're ridiculous claims. And I taught a lot of people how to take these claims apart. You can't make papers apply to people. You got to sign them. They're called contracts. It's either a contract or you're their property. I'm not the attorney's property. I'm not Portnoy Law Associates property. I'm not Beverly Park's property. So Mr. Attorney and Portnoy Law Associates are going to have a problem. Now listen, I keep saying, go download the document in the Be Free. It's under Documents. Let me go take a look here. Go to Documents. Real simple to do. Every one of you should be doing this. You want your freedom? Here it is. Go here to the Be Free folder. Go get this document here. I mean, this is a phenomenal resource. Not only it's written, he's highlighted all the Texas violations that they run through, but he's also included in this document links to all the other states. Look at that: Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri. You got all these other states. He's got links, professional conduct, judicial ethics advisory opinions. This is a phenomenal resource. If you master this by just getting that letter in the mail and filing the mail fraud complaint, which I've seen firsthand, I got personal firsthand knowledge that it spun the New Jersey Tax Bureau around on an issue, got their attention. So that's powerful. And then when you throw the bar agreements early and often at this attorney, you're going to get his attention because he's not used to the monkeys doing anything to him. I said, you're just a circus monkey to him. He's used to just controlling you. He's an elitist. He's better than you. He's got a Harvard education. He's in an elite group called the Bar Association, and you're just a little peon that you don't know any better. Anytime you get in trouble, you got to run to him to save you. And this is the mentality that they've imposed on everybody. So he's the Achilles heel. He's the second weakest link in the chain. And he's the most vulnerable link in the chain. Go after him. So not only do you file your notice and claims against the bureaucrat that started this crap, whether it's the local tax assessor or the attorney, you go after him too. And you go after them in their individual capacity. In other words, I don't want to, the Beverly Park, for administratively, I'll file against the Beverly Park, but I'm going against the actual man or woman individually, so that I can go after their home, their bank account, and their business. If they want to threaten people, great. Let me show them what threats get. Because no man can sit there and tell me that some piece of paper that some pinheads in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where legislatures, I think the legislature is, that they wrote something down on a piece of paper that gave him authority to do something to me and my property. It's a ridiculous claim, okay? So I'm going to stick affidavits and claims back in their face and say, come on, let's get it on. Let's go to court and let's see who's going to be left standing, because I know they can't defeat the affidavits. So use this resource. You have no idea how powerful that is. Thanks.